Samantha, Sam Rivers had always dreamed of owning her own garage, a place where she could work freely without anyone telling her what she could or couldn't do. Cars were her world. Ever since she was a teenager, she had been more comfortable with a wrench in her hand than a dress, more at home among the hum of engines than in crowded rooms filled with people. After years of working long shifts at other people's repair shops, saving every dollar she could, and patching together odd jobs fixing engines in backyards, she finally saw her chance. An old abandoned garage on the edge of town, long forgotten and falling apart, had been listed for auction. Locals called it a lost cause, a money pit that would swallow anyone foolish enough to invest in it. The Weston Auto Garage had been closed for nearly 20 years, its once bold red sign faded and rusting, its windows boarded up, and weeds growing tall around its cracked concrete lot. To others, it looked like a ruin, but to Sam, it was a dream waiting to be revived. She pooled every bit of her savings, signed papers for a modest loan, and showed up nervously on the morning of the auction. To her shock, nobody else bid against her, as if the entire town had silently agreed to let her take it. When the hammer fell, she became the proud, if slightly terrified, owner of Weston Auto Garage. That evening, standing in front of the building with the keys heavy in her palm, she felt both the weight of responsibility and the thrill of independence. The interior was worse than she expected. Cobwebs stretched across the rafters, dust coated every surface, and broken tools lay scattered like relics of another era. The place smelled of rust, oil, and decay, but Sam saw beyond the grime. She imagined bright lights hanging above, the sound of air compressors humming, and classic cars rolling in for restoration. She knew it would take weeks of work to even make the place functional, but she was ready. As she locked up that first night and leaned against the faded garage door, she whispered to herself, "This is it, Sam. Your new beginning." What she didn't realize was that the old garage wasn't just hers to restore, it was a vault of secrets, holding treasures that had been hidden away for decades, treasures that would one day change her life in ways she could never have imagined. Sam threw herself into restoring the garage with the kind of determination only born from desperation and ambition. Every day before sunrise she was there, scrubbing the grease-stained floors, hauling out piles of broken equipment, and mending the cracked roof piece by piece. Most of the time, she was covered in dust and sweat, but with every corner she cleaned, the garage began to look less like a graveyard and more like a workshop ready to breathe again. One rainy evening, while clearing the cluttered storage room at the far back, Sam noticed something strange. The wall felt colder on one side than the other, and when she tapped it, the sound was hollow, unlike the solid thud of the surrounding wood panels. Curiosity piqued, she grabbed her crowbar and pried at the edge, the damp wood splintering as she forced it open. To her shock, behind the panel wasn't just a blank wall, it was a metal door, thick, solid, and covered with years of dust and rust. A heavy old padlock hung from the latch, corroded but still intact. Sam's pulse quickened as questions raced through her mind. Why would someone build a hidden door inside a garage? What could possibly be behind it? Her mechanic's hands itched to solve the puzzle. She tried every old key she had found in the drawers, but none fit. Determined, she worked at the lock with tools, sparks flying as she pried and twisted until the mechanism finally gave way with a groan. The door creaked open, releasing a gust of air that smelled of oil, leather, and something older, something secret. Her flashlight beam cut through the dark as she stepped into a narrow staircase leading underground. The sound of her boots echoed on the metal steps, her heart hammering with each one. At the bottom was another gate, heavier than the first, but unlocked. With both hands, she pushed it open, and what she saw made her freeze in place. Row after row of enormous shapes loomed under dusty tarps, their outlines unmistakably cars, but not just ordinary ones. She pulled the nearest cover back, her breath catching in her throat. A Ferrari 250 GTO, its red paint gleaming even in the dim light, stood untouched like it had been frozen in time. Sam staggered back, shining her light over the endless rows. Bugatti. Aston Martin. Lamborghini. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of classic cars, hidden away for decades. She whispered in disbelief, her voice trembling, "Oh my God, what is this place?" Sam barely slept after her discovery, her mind racing with questions and possibilities as she returned night after night to explore the underground chamber. With her notebook in hand, she began cataloging each car, carefully pulling away the dusty tarps and shining her flashlight across the sleek curves and polished chrome that had somehow survived untouched by time. There was a Shelby Cobra with racing stripes that hinted at victories long past, a Porsche 959 that looked like it had been outlawed for its speed, a Cadillac once rumored to have carried Hollywood royalty, and rows of American muscle cars gleaming with raw power. Each vehicle was a jewel, and together they formed a collection worth well over $100 million. The sheer magnitude of it left her dizzy, not just from the value but from the weight of history sitting silently beneath her garage. But the bigger question haunted her: who had hidden them here, and why had they been left behind? Digging through the garage office upstairs, Sam stumbled upon faded documents, receipts, and letters that pieced together fragments of the past. All of them pointed to Victor Weston, the original owner of the garage, a man once known as a wealthy car dealer with international connections. The deeper she read, the darker the rumors became, whispers of shady business dealings, smuggling rare vehicles across borders, and vanishing suddenly in the late 1980s, never to be seen again. His name was spoken in town like a ghost story, and now Sam realized she was standing in the middle of his secret. The thought of it sent shivers down her spine, but she also felt a thrill. This treasure was sitting in her garage, and by law, it was hers. Still, a gnawing unease settled in her gut. If Victor Weston's collection was truly hidden from the world, then others might be looking for it too. That fear was confirmed one late night as she locked up. Across the street, parked beneath a flickering street lamp, sat a black SUV idling quietly. Its windows were tinted, the engine running low, and though Sam tried to convince herself it was just a passerby, her instincts told her otherwise. Someone was watching. Someone new. And suddenly, she wasn't sure if the discovery that could make her rich might also put her in danger. Sam spent the following days torn between excitement and fear, moving cautiously between the garage above and the hidden collection below, knowing that every decision she made from this point on would define her future. The black SUV appeared again and again, sometimes parked across the street, sometimes creeping slowly past the garage as if testing her nerves. Finally, she decided to confront the mystery. When the suited man approached her one morning, she braced herself for threats, but instead he introduced himself calmly as an attorney representing the Weston estate. Sam's breath caught as he explained that Victor Weston had been declared legally dead years ago, and with the purchase of the garage, everything inside its walls, including the vast car collection, was now rightfully hers. For a moment, Sam stood stunned, struggling to believe that the hidden treasure was not a cruel trick or a dangerous trap but her legitimate property. The lawyer reassured her that the SUV had been there only to ensure the collection was protected until ownership was confirmed, and relief flooded through her veins. Once the legal process was finalized, Sam faced a choice: she could sell the cars off and walk away with a fortune, or she could use them to build something lasting. After long nights of pacing and imagining her future, she chose the latter. With help from investors and car enthusiasts who quickly rallied to her story, she transformed the old garage into a stunning restoration shop and museum, christened the Weston Collection in honor of the history hidden there. Word spread quickly, and soon collectors, journalists, and car lovers from around the world descended on the small town, turning Sam's once abandoned building into a thriving hub of culture and commerce. Tourists came to see the gleaming Ferrari 250 GTO, the Shelby Cobra, the Bugatti Royale, each preserved as though frozen in time, while Sam and her growing team worked tirelessly to restore others to their full glory. What had started as a desperate gamble on a crumbling garage became not only her dream realized but a legacy greater than she could have ever imagined. Standing one evening beneath the bright lights of her reborn workshop, watching visitors marvel at the cars that had once been hidden in shadows, Sam wiped her grease-stained hands on her coveralls and smiled. From mechanic girl to the guardian of $100 million collection, she had proven that sometimes the greatest treasures are discovered not in wealth but in the courage to believe in your own vision.